Donna Brazil with Martha Raddatz says Joe's going to go march the picket lines with workers. First president in American history to do this. And she makes an articulable defense as a Democrat for why. And you got the CEOs making more money. You got profitable companies. Never mind they've been through bankruptcy as recently as 2008, 2009. Never mind they're behind on EVs and those costs are going up. They've made good profits. They've rewarded their shareholders. They should be paying more to the workers. The problem here that my friend Donna doesn't address is the stated demands of the United Auto Workers are more than these companies can bear. Let me put this in real-world perspective for you. The hourly cost of labor for Tesla to make cars is $44. The cost for General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis is about $70 right now. That's, by the way, is per worker. Now, why is it per work? Well, it's the hourly wage, it's the pension cost, the employment cost, the healthcare cost, all that. So it's about $44 for Tesla per hour per employee, $68 to $70 per hour for the big three automakers. All the other manufacturers in this country, automakers, is higher than Tesla, but lower than the big three. And if the UAW demands are met, they would go up to $180 an hour per worker. That's too much because it would not just eat into their profits, it would wipe out their profits. And by the way, they are publicly traded companies. They're private companies traded on the stock market. And they have shareholders, and their responsibility is to the shareholders more than anything else. That's the way corporations in this country work. The shareholders buy the stock. That is an investment in the company. Their investment is rewarded with good stewardship. You may not like it, but that's the capitalist system. And the capitalist system has elevated billions of people out of poverty worldwide, far better than socialism or communism. And these workers still make a good living. They make a better living than anyone who works for Tesla or Kia or Hyundai or Mercedes or BMW or Toyota or Mitsubishi or Nissan. They do better than all of them. And their cars that they manufacture tend not to be as good, tend not to last as long, and tend to be higher priced. And I say that as someone who always buys GM cars. Although I really do miss my 4Runner from Toyota. But nonetheless, Joe Biden is going to go join them in the picket lines. Now, again, what you have to understand is the stated public demands of the UAW are beyond that which the big three auto manufacturers can match. Part of this is a pension system that was phased out in the early 2000s. Longtime employees, they had a pension plan. It was phased out in 2007, 2008 as these auto manufacturers ran on financially hard times. And they were also paid a high hourly wage. To get to the high, you can't get to the pension anymore, but to get to the higher hourly wage, you got to work a certain number of hours and a certain number of years to get there. As more and more workers come online and the older workers phase out, you've got to work more and more to get back to the pay that those people were making. And there is something to be said for the companies negotiating on that. They've offered to make it quicker to get to higher wages, that you don't have to work as long. Ford apparently is taking the negotiations more seriously than GM and Stellantis. So the UAW is not working as aggressively against Ford. They're not striking against more Ford plants this week, even as they've upped the other plants that they're striking against. GM has ordered layoffs at a number of plants. Here's the ultimate problem, though. Here's my broken record moment to put this in perspective. 4 years. 4 years after conservatives coined the phrase Obamacare, Barack Obama stopped ridiculing the phrase. And even then, it took him a year or so longer to embrace the phrase Obamacare. It took Obama multiple years to embrace the phrase Obamacare for the Affordable Care Act. When Republicans began vilifying Joe Biden's economic plan as Bidenomics, it took Biden not 3 months to embrace Bidenomics as his own. Joe Biden embraced the phrase, has wrapped himself around the phrase around him. Everything they do, they refer to Bidenomics. The White House press secretary refers to Bidenomics. And what is Bidenomics? Higher prices and stagflation. And now he's going to go out on the picket lines. First president in American history to join union activists picketing. First, that's probably going to inspire more strikes. But on just that strike, it's going to probably inspire them to stay longer and to strike more and to demand more and to think the president of the United States is with them. By the way, the head of the UAW has not endorsed Joe Biden yet. And he wants that guy's endorsement. So they're going to strike longer and demand more and think the president is with them, which is going to cause more layoffs, which is going to hit the second and third tier auto manufacturing suppliers, not just the first tier, not just the primary, not just the AC Delcos and the like, but all the others. It's going to hit them, those suppliers, the second tier, the third tier, the people who make the buttons for the seatbelts, the people who make the circuit boards, the people who make the fuses, the people who make the small parts that are used by the second tier people for the bigger parts who are used by the first tier people for the whole parts. There are going to be layoffs there. So unemployment will go up. Costs will go up. All of these things, they'll have a negative impact on the economy. They'll push us closer to recession, while everything else is pushing us closer to recession as well. And Biden will be the one on the picket lines. It'll be his photos the Republicans circulate. Who did this? Joe Biden did this. Look at him striking as people are losing their jobs. People are being laid off. Joe Biden's out there celebrating with those who did it. Now, Americans are not typically going to blame the workers. Rarely are workers who strike blamed, even as they might deserve the blame. The union itself might be blamed, but the workers themselves are never blamed. Americans like their fellow workers. You add Joe Biden to the mix, it's not the union that gets the blame, it's the president of the United States who gets the blame. This was such stupid maneuvering by Biden, but it's the maneuvering you expect. He is the most pro-union president the country has ever had. He is the reason the Teamsters decided to go on strike. They're making a big play for Amazon, UAW going on strike. Yeah, the actors, the screenwriters in Hollywood apparently have settled their strike. The terms have not been released. We're expecting the terms to be released imminently as the writers go back on strike. Nobody really cared about that one, though. But it's remarkable that Biden has done this, that he's wrapped himself in this, because as the economy goes, so goes Bidenomics. And as the economy tanks, Bidenomics tanks, and Biden owns the label. He's embraced the label. It's also probably why Republicans should not participate in a shutdown right now. Get through the temporary package and then make a play on the permanent package for more. But we don't want the Republicans giving the Democrats an excuse to say, no, it's them, not us. I mean, the media is going to try. The media will always try. But thus far, the public's been pretty sympathetic to the GOP. Don't give them room to turn on the GOP. Keep the focus on Biden and Bidenomics. It was just absolutely baffling to me that Biden would decide to do this, and yet he's done it. He's going to have to own it when the economy tanks, and we'll make sure he does.
You can follow